6/8 time. Are you going to put this on the internet?
That's up to you.
No. 6/8 time, if you're a mathematician, reduces to what?
3/4.
3/4. Okay. So what happens in 6/8 time? What does the 6 mean?
6 beats in a measure.
6 beats in a measure. And the bottom number means?
What kind of note gets one count?
Right. You put a little 1 there, and it means the 8th note gets one count. Okay? 6 beats to the measure, 8th note gets 1. If I have 3/4 time, what does it mean? 3 beats to the measure, and the quarter note gets 1. So, you can do either or. But in 6/8 time, now, what you're used to is seeing a quarter note gets 1, right? And an 8th note gets a half. In 6/8 time, this note now gets 1.
Need a flag on the 8.
Oh yeah, thank you. That was a test. Thank you, win. Do we have a prize for Barbara? No. Okay, so now the 8th note gets 1 beat. So everything gets doubled, right? The quarter note gets 2 beats. The half note,
It's 4.
4. And the dotted half note, remember the dot gets half the value of the note, 6. In 3/4 time, this note would get 3. In 6/8 time, it gets double. Okay? All right, and this note right here, the note gets 1, or 2, right? And this gets half of 2, which is 1, so gets 3 counts. There is no 5 count note. Okay? All right, so watch. On that paper that I gave you, let's count. On the back of this one, it says 6/8 timing. On the back of the second page of the music. You know, 6/8, when I was learning to play, 6/8 time was always kind of a mystery to me. Teacher never really explained it very well, so I just reduced everything and counted to 3.
That's what I did.
Yeah, the problem is, when you really need to get down to the details, it didn't really work very well. So now 6/8 time doesn't scare me anymore when you just double the value of the note. Okay, so the very first measure looks like this. And usually if they have 1 beat notes, they'll stick them in sets of 3s. Like that. All right, so you have the measure with 6 notes in it, 8th notes. So you just count it, and the reason they put them in sets, if they're going to have 1 beat note, 6 1-beat notes, so you can hear the downbeat here. The downbeat in 6/8 time is always on 1 and 4. So if I was in 3/4, I'd go 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So in 6/8 time, it's 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay? All right, so each one of these would get 1 count. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right? The trick comes when you start seeing this. Huh. Now, that note gets how many counts? 3. And this one gets 3. So this will get 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right? No problem so far, right? Now, here comes the problem. When the composer wants a note that gets held an odd number of beats, like 5, because there's no note by itself that gets 5. All right, look at the next measure, this one. And this is a very common looking measure in 6/8 time. Quarter note, 8th note, quarter note, 8th note. All right, so now I'm going to look at this quarter note, which gets 2 counts, right? 1, 2, 3. That one gets 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I'm playing it, I'm going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the whole basis for barker roll, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right? And then you have this measure. How many beats does that get in 3/4 time? 3. So how many will it get in 6/8 time? 6. Okay? If you look at that and you go in 3/4 time, it gets 1. In 6/8 time, it gets 2. This gets a half in 3/4 time. It gets 1 whole beat in 6/8 time. If you think like that, you'll be fine. Okay? All right. Now, if you look at barker roll, there is a couple of measures here, and I wrote the timing in for you. Look at the first measure on the second page. Just turn over that page you were just looking at. And for the video purposes, I'll write it up here. The measure looks like this. What a mess. Look, I have an 1/8 note, a 1/4 note, and a dotted 1/4 note. Now, I know I have 6 beats, right? I have to distribute those 6 beats amongst those 3 notes. Okay, so what's this one get? An 1/8 note gets 1 count in 6/8 time, right? 1. This one is a 1/4 note in 3/4 time, right? 1 count. How many counts in 6/8? 2. So this will get 2 and 3. And this one is a 1/4 note in a dot. 3 counts. 1.5 counts in 3/4 time. 3 halves in 6/8 time. So this is 4, 5. That's the 3 note count. They wanted you to hold that note for 5 counts. There is no 5 counts note. That really sounded great, didn't it? Can you edit that out? There are no 5 notes. There are no 5 count notes.
That's easy for you to say.
In 6/8 time. Not easy for me to say. So they had to tie together a 2 count note and a 3 count note equals 5. So you'll see a whole bunch of 6/8 time, a whole bunch of those tied notes for 5 when they want you to hold it for 5. And sometimes they carry it over to the next measure. Okay? So look at the first page. Look at the 3rd line. Yeah, see what they did there? Okay, they have this note. Tied to this. All right, so what are you going to do? 6 counts and tied to 1. So hold it for 7 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and go on from there. See? So, lucky you, I was really nice to you. I wrote all the counting in for you. All right, here comes the problem. I personally hate to count. Don't you? And as a teacher, when I'm teaching kids, I remember my teacher beating on the side of the piano when I took lessons. When I went back to see her years later after I got out of college and grew up, on her grand piano, you know how you have that little cheek block up on the top, like up here? It had a dent in it, like a bowl. She had hit that piano so many times to make her students count that it was like, if she would have hit it many more times, it probably would have gone right through. It would. But why do you have to count? What are some instances where counting is required?
If you don't know the melody.
If you don't know the song, you have to count. if you're playing with someone else, like with Andre Roux, the ladies in the poofy dresses have to play exactly the same, or it isn't going to sound good. So counting, if you're just a hobbyist, you just kind of have to kind of feel it.